What up, what up, what up? Sports fans all over the world. It's your boy Mac the Giants fan, and your boys are back. The Horsemen, Adam Costas, Zion Zenith. This is the Premium Takes Podcast. Let's go!
Boom, and then the intro goes nuts, and we're going live with no intro again. But hey, guys, thank you so much for rejoining us. I know it's been a long time. We've been on hiatus for almost about 2 months, but I know we needed our break, and that's probably going to usually happen for the next upcoming years of us taking a break in between shows. What's up, MNW Sports Network? Thank you so much for being here. That being said, though, we have a lot to get back to in the world of sports. We crowned a new NBA championship. I mean, like, we can talk about that. Take about 5 minutes to talk about that. We are gonna preview. I'm gonna do my last minute preview for the UFC fights. We probably take 5 minutes talking about that. If you guys didn't join the Combat Club yesterday, that show is still up on the channel. So make sure you guys go check that out. It's our picks for UFC 318. I do want to get Max picks.
What's good, Pat?
What's up, Pat? Aboriginal Sports Network. Absolutely. If you guys don't know, that's homie Pat. That's homie. It's been a long time since I've been on stream, but all the homies, some homies from the old time Big Blue crew, like NYG 22 and all them boys. They're gonna be at the Aboriginal Sports Network. So shout out to them. Yeah, and then we're basically gonna talk about the Giants, man. Talk about different teams that we're going to preview around the league, because I know training camp is coming soon. I know Adam, he has a segment that we're probably going to get to as well. I'll keep that kind of a secret until we get to that segment. It's just a good segment that I think we're going to start adding as Premium Takes goes along. And you guys know how it is. I mean, like, this is just an announcement. I like to make all these announcements and then we get into the show. Another announcement that I am going to make, guys, is we are going to we're actually looking for any small time people that do, anybody that does want to work on graphics, that do work on graphics. I was thinking about outsourcing graphics, but if there's anybody that is in the chat, in the community, that does graphics, that does want to submit, what's up, Nomads, that doesn't want to submit graphics, you can go ahead and DM me on my Twitter, DM Adam, DM Mac. We're looking for some graphics for our show. Obviously, I could go and outsource it, but I'd rather pay someone in the community if they can develop graphics. If not, I work it myself. I'll go and outsource it. But regardless of which, I just want to take the next 5 minutes to just say what's up to my co-host, man, Mac the Giants fan, Adam. Man, it's been about a month since 2 months since we had a show. I don't even care about sports. I just want you guys to know, like, how you been in your personal lives, how's things going. Let's start with you, Mac, and then go pass it over to Adam. How's everything going with you? How's life? How's work? How's the job? How's everything? Go right ahead.
Life is busy. Life is very, very busy. That's what it's been, man, for me. On the run, man. Getting a lot done, man. Working, traveling, doing a lot of things here. You know what I mean? It's been just tough balancing life, man, and everything else in it, man. But it's football season, and I'm back. I'm back, man. I gotta get back in front of this camera and talk that shit. You know, that's what we do.
I love that. Adam, how's everything with you?
Well, first, welcome everyone in the chat. Good to see you guys supporting us. Life is busy, like Max said. Taking a break from certain social media platforms and just kind of decompressing, because you got to do that before. If you're gonna do a football season, I feel like you got to decompress your brain, and then grow it back up, right? So right now, what I've been doing these last couple of days actually is watching old games. I watched currently watching the Dallas Giants game from 1993, the Adam Smith game. I just was bored one day to do it, but these re-airs come on, and it's like, you watch it. And then I was watching Insiders the other day, so I'm kind of. I've just kind of been working and enjoying the summertime, and then kind of gearing it, taking a break from, again, some of the platforms that kind of get in your, doesn't allow you to freely think. You know what I'm saying? You kind of just always are fighting, arguing with somebody. So that's what I've been doing. Glad to be here with you three guys. Was missing it the other day because I'm like, hey man, there's some things we can actually chat about, and this is our time of year, fellas. This is where we shine the most. And so I'm glad we're here.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometime I got a nip from what you're saying, and something that stood out is you said you took a break. And sometimes I like to do that. with social media, it's so easy to go on X, to go on TikTok, to go on Instagram, to get content, to get the new information. But sometimes it can just be too much for us mental. We're animals. We're not meant to be on these devices. You know what I'm saying? We used to hunt our own food and gather our berries. You know what I'm saying? We're not meant to be scrolling. But it's a fix that every human must get. But sometimes it can overwhelm you and it can get overstimulation. So I love the fact that you did take a break from that, and I love the fact that Mac, you're working hard as ever. Life been busy. Life been a roller coaster for me too. In the middle of a job change, but in this time, I got to go to the movies. Haven't gone to the movies for a bit. Seen Jurassic World Rebirth. Not gonna
That's what I
spoil
saw.
anything. Pretty good. I kind of liked it, and that's not as good as the
Solid,
original
solid,
films,
solid.
but solid for this new generation of films. And then I did see Superman the other day. We can
I
talk
will
about
say
Jurassic
one thing
World
that
for a bit. Go ahead.
for 1 second,
Yeah.
if you're gonna go see the movie, I just want to put this out there. If you are looking for a cinematic masterpiece of storyline, this is not the movie for you. If you're looking for ginormous animals eating people, I recommend this movie. Okay, and it's just I thought it was a great time. Took my eldest child with me, and he fucking loved it. And so I'm
I
sure
say
it'll be fun for many.
out of the last four movies that out of the worlds, not the porks, out of the worlds, it's the most rewatchable. That's what I would say. Like it's a movie that I can see put it on like 2 years from now. You're like, yo, it's on Netflix. Let's watch it. It's the most rewatchable. And I did watch Superman, and I will say this: I'm super excited for what James Gunn has next for this whole DCU. We'll get into that another time. But that being said, guys, before we begin our main topics for the show, I do want to give a selfish plug for myself. We are live on Kick right now under the banner Zion Zenith. So make sure you go check out my Kick, and we just do live streams. We just hang out, just talking sessions. We recap to funny videos on YouTube. We do a lot of good stuff on Kick, and I will be gaming here soon on Kick and Twitch. So make sure you go follow the Kick. But thank you everybody who is watching on Kick. I know I'm trying to spark that up. Speaking of movies, I'm late. Sinners sucks as a movie, especially. Oh man, I really wanted to enjoy that one. I know it's on HBO Max right now, but we can talk movies all day. Let's move into the topics at hand. That being said, NBA Finals. Let's begin with that. Last time we talked, it was about to be Game 4. I just want to hear you guys' overall opinions. I know I can just say off the back. I know for myself, I kind of wished the world wished that Tyrese never got hurt and he never went down, and that would have been a whole different game. But when the Indiana Pacers was walking to the locker room, I mean, like even OKC fans couldn't do nothing but clap for them. They made the finals fun again. It's not like the finals was never fun, but in the past recent years, it's like you clearly knew who was going to win the game, and they made a tough out for OKC. So that's all I really got to say about that. And I just got to say shout out to OKC, man. Shout out to the ownership of OKC, a small time team, a small market team, should I say? A lot of superstars left and won championships. A lot of movements over the last 20 years of me watching basketball, 25 years. And to be honest with you, they finally put a roster together, drafted and acquired, not really went out there and signed a big name, put a roster, a homegrown roster together, and they hosted the Larry O'Brien Trophy. So shout out to OKC and the Chaps. That's really all I got to say about that. Let's go Adam first and then pass it over to Mac.
That's the Seattle Supersonics championship. That's what Seattle Supersonics wanted to have. They went to one finals prior to moving to OKC, and then of course the big three in OKC, those guys, Harden, Westbrook, and Durant, they couldn't get it done, and now you have this group of individuals who got it done. And I just, it's good to see it in the NBA just because you want to see a little parity. Always, as much as we like Golden State Warriors, Steph Curry, and all those guys, and all the teams that come out of the East, Boston, that it's good to just get a little parity. It means what it does is for your fan base, gives you a little hope. So the Pacers, they're a solid team. We'll see how they move forward this next season. They are the defending Eastern Conference champions, but we'll see what they got. I know they lost Turner, and Halliburton has to come back from that Achilles, so that could be a while as well. So we don't know what their strength was. And OKC, we'll see how they continue. Now you're the hunted, not the hunters, right? So you got to now defend your championship, and now everyone's gunning for you. And it's going to be a lot of fun in the NBA to see how this team can evolve, because they can either become a dynasty, and we're talking about this OKC team more so than the Durant and Harden team, which we technically are because they hoisted the Larry O'Brien Trophy. But my point is, they can be the next Golden State Warriors if they decide to. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, things happen, things change, guys get injured, guys get frustrated. Who knows? But I think they're pretty well-rounded team. That's all I got.
Well said. Well said. Go right ahead, Matt.
I mean, obviously, I'm gonna be very brief, but yeah, like you said, it was compelling. It was a great series, and unfortunately, it sucked to see Halliburton go down the way he did. But he gave it everything he had throughout the entire postseason. I mean, he was playing a little banged up the whole entire time, honestly. And it finally, it just gave way at an inopportune time. I'm not gonna go as far as to say that if he was out there, it would have been an automatic guarantee. Would have went the other way. But at the end of the day, it possibly could have. I mean, he was really out there doing big things throughout the postseason. But shout out to OKC, man. I love seeing the small market guys, small market teams like that come up and do something big, man. I mean, and they're a young team, and I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with, man. They got some ballers, and I don't think they're going anywhere without a fight, at least anyway, man. So see what they got, man. Now, like Adam, you just said, you put it best, man. They're hunted as opposed to the hunters, man. So good luck, and we'll see what they got going forward, man.
Well said. Well said. All right, before we move on to the UFC 318 preview, I am going to turn it back to Matt real fast. And if you want to turn it back, you don't have to take too much time talking about it. I just know that you're a baseball fan, and if you two, Adam, anything special going on in the world of baseball, guys? You guys want to have a little baseball segment? Anything great? Anything going on?
Well, I did go to the
Mets
game.
better get their ass together. That's what I got.
What?
That's
The
all I
Mets?
got.
Listen.
Get
I
their
think
ass
the Mets.
together.
I don't know. I have a Met fan here who I've been, besides you, Mac, who I've been following, and he's giving me updates. And it seems like the Mets have done okay this season. It's not like they're crappy. They were in first place at one point. I don't know where they are now. But recently I went to the Yankee game, and it was, first off, let me tell you, electric atmosphere. All right, electric atmosphere in Yankee Stadium. It was. I was sitting there, and you're a little tipsy and whatever. Doing, I don't recommend anything. I'm just saying, but you're sitting there, and one moment I just took it all in. I just wanted to see it all soak in, and damn, right? It just was the crowd, the MVP chants for Aaron Judge. It was I was the most fun I've been at a baseball game in a long, long time. And I'll tell you what, that clock that they have, oh, I friggin' love it. It makes the game go so much quicker. You don't
Oh,
got
the
guys
pitching clock?
scratching their balls. Yeah, waiting for 10 minutes, doing all this fucking gyration. It really just speeds it up. And it's funny because the hitter has to be ready, right? It speeds up everything. And you have to be more accurate with your pitches and more, decisive. And it allows pitchers to probably not put as much wear and tear on their bodies because not pitching as long of innings these days. But I just to be there, I thought for the first time in a long time, it was fantastic. And normally you get these games and they take forever. And I'm sitting there and we got there and I'm like, this game is breezing through. I mean, it was crazy. I was like, we're out. Got here like what? It was like 7 o'clock game. We're out by 9:45. I was like, what the heck's happening? So I thought it was fun. Yankees are, in trouble if they don't get their big bats going. I think they solid pitching outings here and there, but they cannot beat the good teams, and that's their problem. Good teams, good lineup, good pitching staffs. They have a problem if they don't go yard. They don't know how to generate runs. The game that I was at, Bellinger had 3 home runs in that game. They were just knocking them out of the park, right? So when they can do that on a regular basis, great, they're unstoppable. But when they struggle, like they did against the Cubs in the final couple minutes, a couple games, right? Their bats kind of went cold. And I will say this though, Bellinger batting behind Judge has been a dream set because they were giving him pitches, Aaron, that he was obviously reaching for, and then all of a sudden Bellinger comes up and bang out the park right away because he's right behind Aaron Judge, and the pitcher obviously they have their different strategy. They rather get the big home run hitter out, and then here comes Bellinger up and boom. But like I said, the Yankees, they need to get it together because I don't like Aaron Boone. I think he's a horrible postseason manager. I don't think he's a great manager to begin with. I think he's indecisive with decisions. Like this guy he put on the mound the other night. Granted, the guy deserved it. He played 8.5 innings, 8 1/3 innings or whatever it was. But thankfully, he did that. But there are other times where you're watching this guy and he'll pull the pitcher. I went to a game where he put the pitcher in. The pitcher hadn't played for 6 weeks, and he put the pitcher in a game. I'm like, what kind of coaching is that? So we'll see how the Yankees do going forward. I don't know if they have. I don't know. It's World Series or bust for me. If I'm the Yankees, because you went to the World Series last year, if you're anything less than that is, failure in my eyes. So.
Well said. Thank you guys for those baseball series segment. That being said, for the hour of baseball that I watch yearly, I will say that my team, the certified Los Angeles world champion Dodgers, have the best player in the world, have the best lineup in the world, and I think we'll be okay in the playoffs. I really don't watch baseball, guys, so don't get mad at me. I'm just a bagwagon to the Dodgers. That being said, though, I will say this. I don't want to carry this on for too long, but I was noticing the other day, just flipping through the channels that the All-Star game was on, and one of the, I don't know, I don't really follow baseball. I know there's a bunch of other big names, but the biggest names and some of the biggest names in the sports, like Otani and Judge, wasn't playing because they had a conflict in schedule. Does the All-Star game does not mean that much? Does not weekly, does not the NBA, they take a week and a half off. But obviously the Pro Bowl is after. Does the MLB game doesn't mean that much to baseball, but they don't want the biggest stars participating because conflict of schedule? That's a question.
No, I mean, if they had a conflict in schedule, they just had a conflict in schedule, I suppose. Well, this actually means the most. Out of all the All-Star games, it probably has the most meaning out of all the All-Star games.
Conflict of schedule mean that they played the next day, so they couldn't play the game. Or something
play the next day. No, they have a day off after the All-Star game before they get back to their regular schedule. They don't go right back at the next day.
They were talking about due to the flying situations, and they're unable to.
They may have literally just had something going on. I mean, it actually has the most meaning to all the All-Star games. The Major League All-Star game, whatever team wins, that's the league that hosts that gets to host the World Series, that gets to have the home field advantage in the World Series. So it has some meaning. And has a little meaning to it. That's why usually you don't see a lot of guys dropping out of the Major League Baseball All-Star game once they're selected. They're down to do it because the game does have a little bit of value. But as far as the New York Mets go, I mean, you look at the standing. Sure, it looks like it's the Mets ain't doing so bad. They look like it's only because the Phillies started slumping as well. The Phillies had an opportunity to step on the Mets' throat after the June the Mets had. The Mets may have been the worst team in baseball in the month of June. After coming out the season hot, April, May, great start to the season. Had it not been for that great start, I don't know where the Mets would be right now in the standing. The month of June was absolutely god awful for this baseball team. I mean, I just don't know what happened. I mean, I do know what happened. The bullpen is absolutely butt cheeks. That's what happened. Just like it is tonight, right now, going to the Cincinnati Reds. You come out, you get a good start from Anaya. He comes out there, he gives up one run. But then you get the bullpen comes in the game, and all of a sudden Cincinnati's just lighting their asses up. I mean, it's the same story every night with this team anymore. You got a solid lineup. Tonight they didn't really get too much done with their bats, but at the end of the day, the lineup is solid. One of the best in baseball. I mean, top to bottom, from 1 to 9, this team can go, and they can put. I mean, it's just that this bullpen has to be overhauled. I mean, right now it is the Achilles heel, and it is what is going to hold this team back. I mean, I feel good about them still going, probably winning the NL East, going to the postseason, whatever, all that stuff. But I just don't see it with this bullpen. I can't see them going too far with this bullpen right now. It is absolutely terrible. And they need to figure it out, because it's been the same story every single night in and night out. You'll get a few solid innings from your starter, and then next thing you know, they bring the bullpen in, and it's just over with. Good night. And so they got to figure that out. It's just not a recipe for success going down the stretch.
Well said, guys. Alrighty, well said, Mac. Let's get it back to the UFC. We'll move on to the UFC segment, and then I have another segment I'm going to bring up, and then we have Adam's segment, and then we'll just get into overall conversation for the rest of the show. A little bit shorter show today, guys. Probably only going to be about hour 15 at most, but appreciate you guys being with us for our first time back in quite a while. Alrighty, guys. We're gonna preview 318 real fast. I'm just gonna go for the main event, and then I'll pass it over to Mac if he wants to say anything. We got Michael Johnson, a veteran, going against a young stud in Daniel Zahiller. I'm gonna just go at Daniel here. He's much more younger. He's much more faster. He's much more durable at this point in his career. Michael Johnson is definitely a dog, but I mean, like, he is 39 years old. He's been in a lot of fights, and people look at his record and be like 24-19. How is he still in the UFC? He's in the UFC because at the end of the day, the UFC is still an entertainment business, and he entertains. He gives us fun fights, but he's probably out the door here soon. I'm gonna go with the young stud Daniel that does have the better footwork, that does have the better striking, and probably does have the better grappling, even early this on in his career. Coming off of a loss, he's willing to probably go out there and make a statement. I'm gonna pass it to my co-host Mac real fast. Mac, who do you got in this one? Michael Johnson or Daniel Zahiller?
Nah, I'm with you, man. I just think right now it's just kind of more or less just that age thing. I mean, Zahiller, he's hot. You know, I mean, he's kind of hot right now. And Michael Johnson, he's still. I know he still got hands. No, Mets, calm down. I know he still got. Them hands.
That is the last thing to go. Absolutely, the power.
But at the end of the day, man, I just think he'll get a little overwhelmed when it's all said and done in this fight by a younger, just a guy guy with a little more upside at this point in their careers, man. So I gotta go with Daniel here too.
Absolutely. And one thing that stood out for me when I was watching the interview with Daniel, they asked him like, how is his training going? And he's like, you know what? I really train like I have the world championship belt. And this week that he's been in New Orleans and stuff like that, he did this thing where like he was driving this rental car and it was like a Ferrari or something like that. And he said, I'm gonna own that one day. So when you have that mindset, like right now we're renting it for fun, but when you have that mindset as a champion mindset like he has, and he has certainly the skills to back it up, hopefully the kid can go for it. We got Dan Ige versus Pitbull. Now, Pitbull is one of the biggest stories that was ever outside of Fedor Emelianenko that fought for another organization. I mean, like, there's others, but Pitbull was Bellator's Conor McGregor, you right? So Pitbull was the face of Bellator for a long period of time. What's up, the Man Cave? Thank you so much for being here. But he did come to the UFC at the age of 38. Didn't didn't get the performance he wanted against his debut against Yael Rodriguez, and now he has one of the hardest hitters, if not the hardest hitters, in the featherweight division in Dan Ige. This is not me being biased. I know Dan Ige is from Hawaii, but I'm gonna pick him due to the fact that he's a UFC veteran. He's fought the way better the level of competition. I'm sorry, Bellator, but he has. And he is game to go out there and really make a statement due to the losses against Leon Murphy, undefeated fighter, the loss against Diego, just fighting for the championship. I mean, like, a lot of the people underestimate his wrestling and his ground game because you hardly see it. But I honestly think that he will be able to stuff Pitbull's takedowns, and I think it's going to be a standing fight. And I just don't think that Pitbull, at the age of 38, I kind of wish he joined the UFC when Justin Gaethje came over from the PFL, or when Michael Johnson came over from Bellator. But I just believe that he joined that at a time where he's already 38. Like, what else do you give? This is a crossroad fight in his career, and I think Dan Ige might even retire Pitbull unless he has one more fight on this contract. But that being said, I got Dan Ige. Who do you got in this one, Mac?
Going for the upset here. Believe it or not, I'm going for the upset here.
I like that.
I think Pitbull's got something to prove, man. He's gonna come out here and I think he's gonna surprise some people, man. And look, these are both guys are vets. They both know what they're doing. They both this is gonna come down to like I don't know how to even put it. It's gonna come down to like a battle of attrition here, man. And I think that Pitbull, I think he's gonna pull one off, man. Just like you said, he can still walk off into the sunset, man. I think he has something to prove within himself here, and I think he's gonna go out there and get it done, man.
Absolutely. Well said, Mac. And that's a funny comment there. Nah, for real though. That being said, though, Kevin Holland, man, this guy just loves making money, man. He does accept any fight. He told the UFC he doesn't care who he fights. He's not trying to go after a championship. He just wants to fight people. and he loves money. He loves getting paid. And this guy's trying to break the record. He's trying to fight 7 times in 1 year. He already fought 4 times this year. Some people don't even get 2 fights a year. This guy loves fighting, so he's booked on another one. He is at his true weight class, welterweight, and I think at welterweight he can really make a championship run. He's 2-0 right now. Last loss was against one of the best in the middleweight division in Chimaev, and he's going against someone like Daniel Rodriguez. I mean, Daniel Rodriguez is a dog, undefeated, almost had like 100 fights in jail, so he's undefeated in jail. Decided to become an MMA fighter, and that was a great choice because he's a UFC veteran that's been there, that's done that. I was just saying on the Combat Club the other day, I kind of wish that more people respected him because I kind of feel like he's a name that in the UFC that he's been fighting in the organization for so long, and he kind of just gets overshadowed by all these other greats. And I just kind of feel like this guy is a great fighter, but he's probably gonna lose against Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland has the striking on him. Like Daniel could easily come out here and knock Kevin Holland out, but I just think Kevin Holland at this point in his career is basically just focusing on not playing around in there. I'm not gonna just talk to you. I'm gonna talk to you and whoop your ass. But a lot of the times we see him lose, it's against the cream of the crop. I don't think Daniel Rodriguez is the cream of the crop, and I see Kevin establishing his reach early and probably hurting him and then probably submitting him. So I'm gonna say Kevin Holland by submission. Who do you got in this one, Matt?
I definitely gotta agree. Kevin Holland, I think this is just too much a step up in class for Daniel Rodriguez. Kevin Holland he's a different animal, and just like you said, laser focused, always very entertaining, and I don't see him dropping one to Daniel Rodriguez here. I just can't pick that level of upset.
Facts on that. This is another good one. We got Pablo Costa that is 1-4 in the last 5. And those 4 losses against good game opponents. Can't take too much of that. But what I did take about that is the Costa that was undefeated, that was 13-0. He had that confidence to put his foot on the gas pedal and move forward. A lot of the losses, he's taking a step back. This is someone that you can't take a step back on. Roman will knock you the fuck out with his head kicks. This guy is a former professional kickboxer, and he reminds me of Izzy when Izzy started making his rise in the UFC, and Roman is coming out here looking to use Pablo Costa as a veteran on his resume, on his rise to a championship shot. Surprisingly here, though, I got the upset. I got Pablo Costa in this one. I know I'm not going to put money on this, so please don't follow me. But I just think Pablo Costa is motivated, and he's going to come and show this new boy like, hey, I still have what it takes. I'm still him. Yeah. So what do you got, Mac? Roman's probably going to beat him, but what do you got, Mac?
I'm almost inclined to agree with you, man. But you know, yeah, you're right. I can't right now bet against Roman. Roman right now, man, he's one of the new hot things, man. And I think that I don't see. I mean, these guys are fairly evenly matched. Don't get it twisted. Yeah. It's not like that. I don't think no one's running away with this fight. Whatever one on wins, it's going to be hard earned, regardless. But I think Roman's going to be the one that's the last one standing at the end of this one, man. So I'm gonna go with Roman.
Well said. And then to preview, if you guys want a long form of this, go watch the Combat Club. But I'm just gonna say shout out to Dustin Poirier. What a electrifying, exciting career. And I'm gonna just say a shameless plug. If you guys want my prediction, go watch the Combat Club. We're gonna get Mac's prediction because he never talked about it yet. And what did Dustin Poirier mean to the fighting world for yourself? And first off for yourself, and what did he mean for the fighting world? And then who's your prediction in this fight here?
I mean, Dustin Poirier, man, future Hall of Famer, legendary name in this industry, man. I mean, he's done a lot for it, man. And whew. And I mean, he's definitely one of the great ones, all-time great, man. He'll always go down no matter what happens in this fight here. He'll go down as one of the all-time greats, man. But I think he's gonna go out with a bang, man. I know how Max Holloway is your guy, man. I know he is, Zion. But I'm gonna go with the smaller. It's a little big. Has to be a slight upset here. I mean, I don't really necessarily call it that big of an upset, but there's a little slight upset here. You know what I mean? But I think Dustin Poirier gets it done, man. And this. I think he's going to come out focused and wants to put on the show, man, and dial. I think he's going to be dialed in, man. And I mean, not taking anything from Holloway. Holloway is obviously go down as an all-time great as well. But But I think Dustin Poirier gonna get the best of him here, man.
Well said, well said. And thank you guys so much. Thank you, Adam, for letting me and Mac get that out of the way. Thank you, Mac. Wonderful prediction there. And before I pass the mic over to Adam for his segment, I wanna talk about this real fast, guys. I just want you guys to pick one. We don't have to talk about the whole award show, but the ESPYs just happened. You know, sports is now sports Grammys and Oscars. There's a lot of categories, but is there any category for you guys that kind of stuck out? I guess I can go first. Since we were just talking about the UFC, I'm gonna go with the UFC category, and that is the best MMA fighter and Moab. Absolutely, a lot of fighters on this list. Kayla Harrison could have won it. DPP could have won it. Islam could have won it. But Moab, what he was able to do, the machine over the past year was absolutely amazing to see. So best MMA fighter of the year goes to Moab. That's obviously there's so much on the list to pick. I wanted to pick Berkeley's backwards hurdle, but maybe you guys can pick that. Any nominees or any winners that stood out for you guys that you guys want to talk about? Go right ahead. Go right ahead, Adam. You first.
I mean, I didn't really watch the ESPYs, so I can't really comment on something I didn't watch.
Fair enough. I apologize. But
look, I don't want to necessarily talk about them, but God damn it, if somebody knocked these Eagles off the top of this damn mountain or what, man, I'm so tired of every time I turn around, they get some kind of news, something. Eagles this, Eagles that. God damn it, somebody knock these guys off that pedestal right now, man. Who's going to do it? Somebody step up and do it. Can the Giants step up and do it? Somebody step up and do it, God damn it. Knock the Eagles down. They won the damn best team at the ESPYs. That's all I got, man. Somebody just knock them off that damn top of that mountain.
Best team, Berkeley won best play, best NFL player, and so on and so forth. That being said, for the next half of the show, we're just gonna turn it over to Adam. He's gonna host the next half of the show. And Adam, the mic is yours.
Well, thank you. The segment, or I guess the segment I'm trying to get into, is the quarterback rankings have come out. And I've had a discussion with a friend of mine about a certain quarterback that he deems should be higher on the list. That quarterback being Jalen Hurts, who's like a 9 or 10 on the list. He deems the quarterback, he deems that this guy should be number 2. Now, I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying that I disagree per se that he's a bad or good quarterback. I think Jalen Hurts is pretty good. Top 10 is a good quarterback number to have, right? For a guy that doesn't have a lot of passing yards. That being in the top 10, but he believes that he should be higher. And he said, why? Well, because he won the Super Bowl. Okay, that's fine and all. And I get why you would think that, right? You know, top team, top player, he should be the top of the list. But that's not how they categorize it. And obviously, this friend of mine, you know, Reality Check, he's a good friend of the program, was, you know, it seemed like he was a little bitter about the Jalen Hurts thing. I'm like, dude, he's still a good quarterback. It doesn't mean just because he's not, you know, projected in the top 10 doesn't mean he's not a good player. You know, I haven't seen a top 10 quarterback in I don't even know how many years now, right? So the fact that this guy's quarterback is in the top 10, it should be for something. Now, I took it as at one point, is it just, you know, Eagle fans just complaining because it's Eagle fans, or should he really be higher on the list? And we should put him up there because of the Super Bowl win. And that's kind of where I left off the discussion. However, I will say one thing. We compared him to another guy in the league, and that guy who I love is Joe Burrow. And, you know, one day we had a conversation about Joe Burrow and, you know, his shortcomings and this, that, and the other thing. And it's like, well, when do we define? How do we define which is great and which is not? I mean, Joe Burrow had the best season last year. I mean, look, you can tell. You look at the numbers, right? Look at his damn numbers. He had 4,900 yards and 45 fucking touchdowns. Okay, like I can't blame the guy for his team not getting him to the dance, right? But then you look at Jalen Hurts, and I'm not saying his team is all world because, you know, everybody's got everybody on the team, but you put Joe Burrow on the Eagle team. And who knows what they're doing, right? Who knows? I can't say that if you put Jalen Hurts on the Bengals, they would have the same outcome. So I guess what I want to lead off with before we get into the Burrow stuff is, should Jalen Hurts be higher on the list? Do you think he should be lower? What do you guys think? Just because he was the guy that was brought up mostly, and I'd love to hear your thoughts.
I'll let Matt go first.
Well, guess what? Because I've been talking about this for a few days with a lot of people. All right. Jalen Hurts should absolutely be higher on the list to me. He got him at number 9. I think there are quite a few quarterbacks they got in front of him that I think is a little disrespectful at this point, given the things Jalen Hurts has accomplished. With that being said, too, no, come on. Like you just said, Adam, you could take Josh Allen, you could take Joe Burrow, you could take Lamar Jackson, in my humblest of opinions, and you could put them on that Eagles team, and the Eagles were still walking away with that Super Bowl last season. You are not going to convince me otherwise of that. And I do agree, it's not necessarily it doesn't go the same way quite the other way. Because if you take Jalen Hurts and put them on Buffalo, they may still come up short. You put them on Cincinnati, same thing, in Baltimore. You know what I mean? He's on a very loaded football team, and I'm not going to blame him for that. He takes advantage of it, and they get the job done. With that being said, he does a lot of great things himself as well. He's a good quarterback, I don't like to admit it, but it's the truth. It is what it is. He gets a lot of things done. He should be a little higher. He should definitely be. To me, I would put him at number 5 on that list. This is where I don't really. This thing I don't agree with the list about is the fact that after one season of football, I love the kid. I think he had a great year, but after one season of football, how is this kid ranked number 5 above other guys that have done it over a period of time now, consistently giving you good? For all we know, Jaden Johnson come fall off the damn cliff this season. Completely. Right. Who knows? I mean, I'm not saying he will. But I'm just saying that could happen. And the fact that you would rank this guy who played 1 year. Go ahead.
No, go. I don't mean to cut you. I just want to stay with this Jalen Daniels thing real quick. So the top 10. How are we defined? Because if you look at the season that
I would have
had, it was a good season and worthy of a top 10 mention. However, like you're saying, he hasn't done enough. So dive in a little bit more, Mac, on your thought process on how you're getting Jalen Hurts up there, and why you may not think that Jaden Daniels is quite in the top 10. I'd like to dive into that further, because it makes a good argument for resume versus stats, right? Obviously, Hurst Super Bowl resume, rookie coming in 1 year. So I'd like to hear your dynamic and thought on why this is happening.
Look, overall, that top 10 list, I didn't necessarily have a huge problem with the names that were on it. It was just, like I said, a little bit of the order needed to be shuffled around, I think. Like I said, I believe that Jalen Hurts should have been up there at number 5, at least. I mean, look, I know a lot of people, Justin Herbert is a good quarterback, but he has some shortcomings when it comes to like the postseason play, the things of that magnitude. He hasn't gotten over that hump. I mean, Jared Goff has been really, really good. Oh, especially with his tenure in Detroit here, he's been really, really good. You know what I mean? And so Baker Mayfield put together a great year last season as well. And I just feel like it's just there's a few of these names. Matthew Stafford, he's still really good, but I don't think he's necessarily better than Jalen Hurts right now. You know what I mean? Currently, as things stand. And I just feel like there's a couple of those names. I feel like Jalen Hurts, things he's accomplished, he's been in 2 Super Bowls in the last, couple of years, last 3 years. He's been in 2 Super Bowls, won one of them, and was a big reason for the win. You know what I mean? He played out of his mind in the Super Bowl back in February. So I just feel like I can see where fellas are a little ruffled about Jalen Hurts' ranking. I mean, at number 9, I just think that he's a little bit better right now currently than some of these guys, just because of what he's able to do even on the bigger stages. Because at some point you got to start measuring some of this stuff out by that. Because let's face it, all of these guys have been showing success in the regular season regardless. You know what I mean? Yeah. And at some point you have to start measuring what they're doing in the postseason and on the bigger stages. And Jalen Hurts has knocked that right out the box, man. Like I said, I hold Josh Allen and Burrow and Lamar Jackson to a different standard, because I feel like if you take those 3 guys in particular and put them on that same Eagles team that Jalen Hurts is playing with, the results would still be the same. I don't see different results coming from that Eagles team because you slide in Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, or Burrow. So I just feel like that's why I don't put him above those three guys, but he should be right there at number 5 for me.
All right, so I'm gonna put a pin in it because I want to hear Zion's thought process real quick.
Yeah,
but I have something I want to kind of get to after he's done talking.
Yeah, I respect your point. Mac. But I disagree with you there. I like to look at my quarterbacks as I rank them, and obviously, you had a lot of solid points. But I don't. I think he's perfectly fine at 9. I actually might have switched him at 210. I just look at Jalen Hurts, and the way I look at it is, okay, he's a good quarterback, and he can get the job done with a good team, right? And the NFL is not an individual sport; it's a team game. But if I was to take all of these quarterbacks, and if I was to pre-make a team in a computer simulation and have them be the quarterback of that team, I do believe that there is 5 quarterbacks that I could name that could carry that team to the Super Bowl, and they all have the same team. The Rams and Matthew Stafford almost beat the Eagles to go to the Super Bowl last year. So that could be something. If you take Matthew Stafford, a guy that is not playing at the highest level, but if you put Matthew Stafford on that list, on that Eagles team, I think Matthew Stafford with the Barkley and with the team that Jalen Hurts has could get them to host the Lombardi. I do believe that his mobility is basically what's up, Tito? Thank you so much for being here. His mobility does kind of take him over the hump in a point of the way we look at him. But the difference between him and Lamar Jackson is Lamar Jackson actually can throw the football. I'm not saying that Jalen Hurts can't throw the football, but I'm just saying I would honestly, on God, I'm looking at other quarterbacks. If I'm building an NFL team from scratch, that I would rather have over Jalen Hurts, and it just off of pure performance, as if everybody had the same outcome. And usually it doesn't work like that, right? The NFL is not fair like that. But I look at someone like I'm not trying to say that he's better than Jalen Hurts and the whole NFL community goes nuts. But if I look like someone like Justin Herbert, who literally has, you go look at his stats over his first seasons, and you can see all these NFL players he's breaking with a team like the fucking Los Angeles Chargers. Let's just swap places a bit. Let's have Jalen Hurts have the entire teams what Justin Herbert had, and let's put Justin Herbert on the Eagles. I think Justin Herbert would have had a Super Bowl with the Eagles. That's the way I'm looking at these quarterbacks. I get it. It's a team game, but I'm looking at them individually. And when I'm looking at them individually and you cut them off at the waist, his mobility is amazing. We all love the name that's not supposed to be spoken because, yeah, he can gain an extra 10 yards with his feet, but what can you do in the passing game? And a lot of the times, I seen too much year 4 Lamar Jackson in Jalen Hurts, and I'm not saying he's a bad player. He's definitely in my top 10. You know what? He might even be 7 or 8, but he's not making my top 5. He's not making my top 5.
So that brings me back to the point that I was trying to articulate with the conversation I was having, was where does the mark stop? Because if some people are looking at the resume, like you saying, and other people are looking at what he did last year. Like I looked at the quarterbacks on the list. There are like
I'm looking at the resume and the team around the surrounding cast.
Right. I mean, well, I don't see. Sometimes people use that as a detriment. Like, for example, someone says, "Oh, Joe Burrow has Jamar Chase." It's not my fault they were drafted 5th overall and they decided to make the smart move in taking Jamar Chase. I can't blame the Bengals for that. What I can do is say, what does Joe Burrow do to that team? Well, guess what? 4,900 yards, and that guy leads the league in receiving. If you look around the league. But
to your point, Adam, real fast, to your point too, you can take Joe Burrow and he shows me the arm talent to go on any roster and get the job done. I'm not saying that Jalen Hurts doesn't show me the arm talent, but Jalen Hurts, you're not playing running back. You're a quarterback. I honestly think I want to see more in the accuracy in the passing game, because it's not like you don't have any buddies. You have the 3rd best wide receiving core in the National Football League, outside of maybe the Bengals and the Vikings. Go ahead, Adam.
getting there. What I'm saying is with Joe Burrow being drafted there is that if you look at these premier receivers, you go look at CD Lamb, you go look at some of these other guys that played with quarterbacks that were subpar. Sure, they get 1,000 yards, Malik Neighbors, but then you put a guy like Joe Burrow down there, and they're flirting with 17, 1,800 yards, right? The production skyrockets. You put Jamar Chase on the Dallas Cowboys, he's probably getting 1,100 yards because he's Jamar Chase. But then you add Joe Burrow, and this guy is flirting with 17, 18, 1,900 yards. And that's the difference in having a great quarterback with you. Now, I'm not taking anything away from Jalen Hurts. I like Jalen Hurts. I think he's the most clutch quarterback in the NFL.
He's a dog.
When he's the example of play that I bring up a lot is against the Giants. It was, I guess, a 4th and 2 inside the 40-yard line. Most people are probably either punting it or doing a little drop-off, dump-off to get the first down. No, this guy says, I'm going for the home run and dials up a touchdown on 4th and 2 from inside the 40. So he understands down and distance. He understands time of the game. Same thing in the Super Bowl. They were like, all right, inside the 40-yard line, let's just throw a bomb to Devontae Smith. And he takes that shot. He is a gunslinger. I like his mentality. But at what point do I make my demarcation? Do I think winning the Super Bowl means a lot? Yes. But if you put a ring on Burrow, if you put a ring on Allen, if you put a ring on Lamar Jackson, we're pushing Jalen Hurts down further. Because
if you put a ring on Justin Herbert, we're pushing Jalen Hurts down further.
My point is the equalizer, right? The thing that's like putting him in this flirting higher up is because of his resume and winning the Super Bowl, which you can't take away. 2 years, 2 out of the last 4 years, he's been there, right? But is he the best passer in the league? No. Does he do a lot of things? He's a winner, which is great.
That's just about to say. He's a winner. That's what it is. He's a winner, and right. I respect that. I respect that he's a winner. Right. But I don't know stats be all end all. Stats doesn't matter. But like yet to pass for 4,000 yards in the season. I get it. He can move, but 85 touchdowns, 39 interceptions, 14,000 yards. Justin Herbert played one more season and he has almost double the touchdowns with two more interceptions right. and 21,000 yards. It's just like, and then people look at Justin Herbert like he can't play a game of football.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Have around him.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing you gotta look at though. You gotta look at it like this. What's it all come down to? What's it all measured? You're measuring on winning championships. That's what it's about. It's what you do on the big. That's why the Eli Manning thing is always that debate is always. I love it because that's what it's all about. It's not necessarily what you. I mean, a lot of like I said, all these guys on this top 10 list here, to me, they all put together great regular seasons regardless. Nobody's questioning that, but they don't all step it up when it's time to step it up. And Jalen Hurts does that.
No. Jalen Hurts does that. Because you know who's going to step it up this season? Because let's go to the history of Justin Herbert's coaches and offensive coordinators, and let's see a 11-6 in his first time coaching back in the NFL with Jim. Now they got a running game in the Memorial Hampton. Watch the Chargers rise out of the ash. Like watch it. Watch Justin rise. But go ahead. I do get your point. I do get your point, Matt.
This is where I'm navigating this conversation because Mac brought up exactly the hook, line, and sinker I needed him to do because he brought up the championship argument, which is a valid one. Winning championships is the end all be all, right? But a guy like a Dan Marino, he was great for his time. Am I slouching him because? Right, am I slouching? But my point is, am I still taking away his greatness even though he only went to one and could not get over the hump in many years against teams like Jacksonville and Denver, right?
But he's doing it. He's just not winning.
But what I'm saying is,
I'm not trying to argue at Mets right now, but it's not his fault the Chargers defense sucks. Go ahead, Adam.
I'll get to Herbert.
5 interceptions.
Philip Rivers is another guy that I talk about. Like he met arguably the best tandem of quarterback and coach and a gauntlet of players in his conference. So am I mad that he, couldn't get over the hump against Ben and these other guys that, were there? Like at what point do we just admire the greatness for the greatness and then say the championships put him, further up that list? Like Lamar Jackson, he's a great, wonderful talent. He's last year, I think he should have won the MVP the way he transformed his game and throwing 4,000 yards, right? if he doesn't win in his career and he throws for millions of yards, he goes to the playoffs year after year, but doesn't always make it. At what point? Because you say it's a team game, right? But then in the same vein with Herbert, Herbert plays a solid game against the Jacksonville Jaguars, right? But then but we say, oh well, he didn't win the big one. Well, his team let him down. His kicker let him down, right? If it's a team game, we can't have the one argument. Well, we're individualizing the sport and we're looking at their performance and then say, well, it's a team game and kind of cheapen it like that. We've got to look at the player as his greatness. And I still think Lamar Jackson, let's say he continues on this trajectory but doesn't win, is still going to be a great player, right? And still be up there like with the Marinos and all those other guys who haven't necessarily won anything. We're not going to take away their greatness. Now, a guy like Jalen Hurts, to me, at the end of his career, if he doesn't win multiple Super Bowls, let's say he wins only one, right, and it's been to two, he'll be in that discussion where we're in Eli, where it's kind of like, where would you rank the guy?
Ghost
Is he
dog.
really great because of his team, or is he just good because he's got a couple Super Bowls under his belt? Because this is where the debate is getting me, and I'm trying to figure out how we navigate this.
Well, this is where the debate gets me. Like, I'm sorry, I thought you was done.
No.
Yeah, it's like
winning the championship is it the end? Is that it? Because Brad Johnson won a championship. He's not a great quarterback, so does that make Brad Johnson better than certain guys that have won? Nick Foles comes to mind. Like, where do how can I appreciate Josh Allen if in the same vein he doesn't win, and then we look at the games and he's like, well, he played fucking Patrick Mahomes,
Yeah, this the way I look at it too, because it's like I'm not trying to be like a Giants head and be biased on the Giants, but like to tell you I'm not a Giants head, Jaden Daniels is him. Jaden Daniels is not a top 10 quarterback, but Jaden Daniels is him. Can he become a top 10 quarterback? Exactly what Max said. Absolutely, he can. But for 1 year, come on, bro. But he's him, right? I can respect Jaden Daniels. I respect the fuck out of Dak Prescott. But you guys felt, Adam, you felt my Dak Prescott roast when I'm like, bro, you have a made team. You have a made team for 7 fucking seasons. Come on, bro, get it done. Here's my knock at Jalen Hurts. He's a winner. He's a dog. He's definitely a top 7, top 8 quarterback in the National Football League. My only problem where I can't put him at 5 is, but you have the best offense and the best defense in the National Football League, and it's almost as like the Rams when they got Matthew Stafford and Howie Roseman, how he manipulated the cap. This was your team because in 2000, this was your year. Next year was your year because you guys had to win one. Because in 2029, you guys are fucked. But you guys had to win one. Everything was focused on winning now, just like the Rams did it. You're not saying they bought a Super Bowl. They needed the surrounding cast with the Super Bowl. But if it wasn't for Barkley, they wouldn't got that Super Bowl. So when I'm looking at him as an individual, it was Barkley's season. Barkley carried that team to that fucking Super Bowl. It wasn't Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts struggled late half in the season. And I'm not dogging Jalen Hurts because it takes a winner. It takes a winner to go over the hump and to win the Super Bowl. It takes a winner's mindset to have that mental. Well, fuck the thermostat. We're gonna break it. Guy. It takes a minute, but he's not. For me, he's not a top 5 quarterback. I'm sorry.
So two guys I want to mention that are probably running parallel with each other. Matt Ryan went to a Super Bowl and lost. Joe Burrow went to a Super Bowl and lost, right? Matt Ryan is probably going to the Hall of Fame. Can we agree on that or no? Am I not?
Maybe. You guys absolutely.
Agree? I think he's going to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. The numbers certainly multiple per thousand. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so if he won a championship, he'd be an automatic lock for the Hall of Fame, correct? Right? If he won
absolutely.
that Super Bowl like Matt Ryan, there wouldn't be a debate on either of your guys and saying that, right? If he doesn't win, but he's still throwing for 70,000 yards and 100 touchdowns, but doesn't get a Super Bowl, it just always falls short, whether it's because he's playing another team that has a good quarterback or his defense can't make a tackle at the end of the game. Are we taking it away? Because I think what happens to a lot of us is, while I agree with Mac, it's about winning championships. At the end of the day, then why do we have individual stats? Why do we have a Hall of Fame? Because if that's the case, we should just erase it all and just have a team, and that's it. But this is what we have this debate for, and that's why I'm kind of was bringing it up to you guys, the panel, because I hear both sides. I love Eli Manning. He has 2 Super Bowls. I understand what he looks like in the regular season, but when the postseason came about, he was a different player, right? And he was, but remember, he was a different player for 2 runs. He wasn't good in 08, He wasn't good in 05, and he wasn't no good in 06. You can't blame him for 08. He played a decent game. They probably should have beaten the Eagles. Many things happened, but they weren't always good runs. Those 2 runs that he had were epic. Joe Flacco is another guy that you talk about. He probably is going to go to the Hall of Fame, whether we like it or not, because he had that epic run in the playoffs, right? And he's going to amass probably 45, 50,000 yards. And when his name comes up, you're going to be like, oh, well, you may not first ballot him, but he'll get there through osmosis, because what's going to separate him? That championship. It's like a Kirk Cousins, right? Kirk Cousins probably is not on a Hall of Fame trajectory, but if you look at him, he has 40,000 plus yards. He's been a top passer in the league, blah, blah, blah. But if he doesn't win that, that's what's going to keep him out, is not the championship. So I think the only thing that for the championship argument I will make is it makes guys like a Ryan, Phillip Rivers, a guy like Kirk Cousins probably, and even Joe Flacco's of the world, it gives them a chance to get a leg up on the competition when they're there, and you're looking back, oh, well, did you win the championship? Yes, right? You look back at careers of guys that are in the middle of the road that are good quarterbacks. Like if Jalen Hurts went to the Super Bowl and he was on Joe Burrow's timeline, we're not saying the same things about Jalen Hurts that we are right now.
Well, I want Matt to get it right in too, but here's what I want to say too. It's almost as if like when you look at Jalen Hurts, is he a top 5 quarterback? I'm gonna say no. Next year, after the season's done, really moving to the top 5, yeah, probably if he continues to do what he's doing. But if Jalen Hurts doesn't win that Super Bowl, are we talking about him in the top 5? Barkley we're still talking about because he's the best back in the league, only followed by probably Derrick Henry, and others will say Bijan Robinson. That's 1, 2, and 3. But outside of that, it's almost as if Barkley's still on that list. If Jalen Hurts doesn't win that championship, and I hate to do hypotheticals because he won that championship, but if Patrick Mahomes won that championship, are we still talking about Jalen Hurts as a top 5 quarterback? And that brings in the championship point that you was just making. Because he won that championship, it makes him a top 5 quarterback. I don't like to look at it like that. Because Barkley won that fucking championship. And that was the best defense line in the league, the best defense in the league, the best O-line in the league, the top 5 in best wide receiving core in the league, and the best running back in the league.
Look. Because here's the thing. You're going down a rabbit hole right now, bit that for me, now we're going to punish Jalen Hurts because Howie Roseman put together the best damn roster in football. Is that fair to Jalen Hurts? It's not. Saying punish him. It's not. It's unfair to Jalen Hurts. I mean, to punish him because his general manager put on a master class while composing that roster. I mean, No, but that's what I'm saying. Like I said, that's why I put him at the top 5. I said I put him at 5, and I left those other 3 guys in front of him for a reason, because I said specifically, I think the Eagles would have the same result if you took either one of those guys, and I'm not that convinced that it would be automatically the same result if the other guys were there. Like I said, like the Justin Herberts or the Matthew Staffords or the Jared Goff. I'm not that convinced that it would be the same result had it been those guys there. But I'm convinced that if you put Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson at that quarterback position there on the Eagles, that the results would still be the same. That's why I didn't move them in front of those guys. But I feel like you can't discount the things that Jalen Hurts does in clutch situations. Adam, like you said it before, he could be the best clutch quarterback in the league right now currently. Just what he does when the pressure's on. When the Eagles, if they're having a bad week, the chips are down a little bit. And I hate talking positive about this football team. I hate it. But it's just the reality of the situation is that he's demonstrated time in and time out that when they need to get down the field and put some points on the board, he seems to get it done. He finds a way. And granted, you're right. He has a great team around him, and that's.
I'm not penalizing him.
But I can't take that away because his GM just does it better than anybody else's.
I mean,
I just can't do that. I can't. It's not fair.
Wait. I agree with that. I don't want you guys to think that I'm taking it away from him. I'm going to put this out there. My top 5 quarterbacks right now. Patrick Mahomes at 1. You know what I'm saying? We probably have Joe Burrow up there. We have Josh Allen up there. We have Lamar Jackson up there. That's 4, right? I honestly think, I'm not trying to knock Jalen Hurts, but you put Matthew Stafford in that situation, you put Justin Herbert in that situation, they could have won a championship too. So right there,
I'm
you know what
I'm
I'm
not
saying?
that convinced of that.
And
That's what I'm telling you. I'm not convinced.
And I agree with you on that. That's what I'm saying. That's the way I'm thinking. I'm not knocking Jalen Hurts because of that. But if you was to make a team in the computer, I could think of 5 other quarterbacks that I would put in front of Jalen Hurts to lead that team. Yes, he's fucking mindset is on lock. Yes, he's a clutch player. Yes, his mobility is on point. But in a 2-minute drive and the game's on the line and the fucking running back is injured and I need you to make the big time fucking throw, I'm gonna go lean on Matthew Stafford. I'm gonna lean on Justin Herbert, and that's just me.
Well, I mean, I'm not calling him like a better passer necessarily, a better pure passer than any of those guys necessarily. I'm just saying what the overall. I'm talking about the results. The results we seem to keep getting, and the result that's what it's all about. Like I said, is Eli Manning better than Tom Brady? Hell no. But he kicked that ass 2 times in Super Bowl, 2 times in 4 years, whooped that ass. Because sometimes when the pressure, when it's just that time when the pressure's on, certain guys got it and certain guys don't. And at the end of the day, no matter what it's all about, individual stats, this individual stats, that. Guys want champs. They play this game to win championships, to win titles, and that's what it's all about, man. I stand on that. That's what it.
And I agree with you on that. And I'm just trying to ask, at what point can we appreciate, Lamar or these other guys who may not win the championship, right? Like, to me, like, we're sitting here and we're saying, well, Jalen Hurts is good. Like, I'm not taking away his greatness or that he's a good player. There are guys who are more talented than him. That's just a fact. It's nothing against. It's not like when we were talking about a quarterback of the Giants a few years ago, where your guy has no talent and you're trying to prop him up and give him talent. Jalen Hurts has talent. I agree with you. I think, like I said, I think he's the most clutch quarterback in the NFL. Because of his understanding of recognition. And I think he has intangibles that we don't talk about normally with other guys. I think if you were to break it down intangibly and you were to strip it to the bare bones, he's probably moving up that list higher because you're like, well, he's clutch here. He's the best guy in this situation. He does this, he does that. But when you look at his overall stats and his overall game, most people are ranking him as a pure passer, and I think that's why he falls to number 9, because while he can pass the ball and he's capable of doing that, he's not a put the game on your right arm kind of quarterback, right? And that is partially because the Eagles don't utilize him in that manner, right? They utilize him perfectly for what he does. Now, I told Reality Check, I do believe that Jalen Hurts has to evolve as to more of a pocket passer, only because guys like him don't survive careers. Steve Young, Steve McNair, like Don McNabb, these guys all get beat up when they continue to run. And if you don't stay in the pocket, you're more prone to getting injured as you get older, right? So I'm hoping that he does what Lamar Jackson does and evolves as a passer. There's an interesting guy who reminded me of Jalen Hurts at the beginning of his career with his numbers and then evolved as a passer, and that's Dak Prescott. When Dak Prescott came to the league, he was more of a grounder where he would run quarterback sneaks, quarterback draws, and be a little bit of more of an extension of the run game for the Cowboys. And then he developed into that big time passer that he is now, throwing 4,500 yards a season. So I just wanted to. I'm going to close out this segment, but I just was wondering, that and seeing how people view top 10 and what they do. Mac looks more like a resume. And I think Zion's more, production on the field during the regular season does matter. So while the playoffs are good, the more you have is the regular season. Because the problem with the playoffs that I have that people forget are they're not 17 games, right? Some guys don't even get to 17 games in their playoff career, right? So then we can't just so we have a quantity.
The Eagles would have won it. The Eagles probably would have won the playoffs previously, right? But the whole fucking roster got injured, right? Remember that year?
Right.
So it's like a lot of. I'm not saying Mac's wrong. Mac's completely valid to his point, and he made a lot of good facts. I love this conversation. This was a good segment, Adam.
I'm not saying that anyone's wrong. What I'm saying is, at the end of the day, how are we evaluating the greatness of these guys? Because if one guy wins, if for me, if Lamar Jackson wins the Super Bowl, then and Jalen Hurts only has one, then we can move him up and down the list, right? But if he doesn't win one, do I take away the greatness of Lamar Jackson? Is he still a better player than Jalen Hurts?
Can I just say,
Even though
what
he
the
didn't
fuck
get
is
it
with this
done?
first world problem issue with these Eagles fans? Like, we're already here fucking suffering, and they're fucking complaining because their quarterback is fucking inside the top 10. Like, what the fuck? He knows I
Well,
love him, but what are we talking
I
about?
mean,
right.
We got third world
real
fucking
quick
team
before we get
here.
out, guys, before
Go
we
ahead,
break
man.
off real quick, I do want to add one more thing to this because I think this has been a great discussion. Appreciate it. All right, so are we taking? Okay, I'm just something else I'll bring on the table about it. Would you take anybody out of this top 10 and add somebody else to it? Do you think someone was snubbed out of the top 10,
Well,
or you think this? At least do you think this
I
is
would
at least the
say
right 10
I
guys?
would say Geno Smith would be, and maybe Dak Prescott might be in the top 10 because if we're looking at it from last year, which they did with Jaden Daniels, right? That's why he's in there. I mean, C.J. Stroud was a top 10 quarterback his rookie year, but now he's not. So now he's just ass. He's not that guy anymore because his season wasn't that good. You know, you got to look at guys like Geno Smith, right? Like he had a solid year last year as well. Do I necessarily think he's great? No, but you could argue that he's better than some of those guys on the list as well. So if we're doing it by resume, like Mac is saying, there's guys who deserve to be on the list, right, or higher up the list. Like Jared Goff, I think is underrated, right? I think he could be higher up the list if you look at his last 3 seasons. If you look at Baker Mayfield, I think he should be higher up the list. If you look at his last 2 seasons, 8,000 yards and 80 touchdowns, right? So like we need to start to me look at it like if we're going to do resume, then let's do resume. Let's respect the guy for what he's done because Aaron Rodgers is always flirting with a top 10 every year, but he wasn't really a top 10 passer last year, even though he's outranking guys in the passing rankings,
I think
certain
I,
portion.
I honestly looking at this list too, Adam, and Mac, I can see that they're predicting the top 10 for this upcoming season, right? So that's why it's like, how do you not have CJ Stroud on this list, right? Because I think CJ Stroud is going to take another leap forward, right? So you include Jaden Daniels on the list, right? But you don't include CJ Stroud. Nothing against Jaden Daniels. Obviously, he's probably going to have a good season. I mean, like that. Look at who they're acquiring in the free agency, but that's someone that kind of stuck out. So you're going to take CJ out, and you're going to just replace him with Jaden Daniels, and Jaden Daniels shouldn't even be on the
Another
list.
guy who has decent postseason success, CJ Stroud, right? So
Exactly.
I'm just saying.
Well, look, another guy's name. I'm taking Jaden Daniels out the top 10 period because I love the kid, but I just don't. I can't stand behind 1 year production making you a top 10 quarterback when there's other guys that just have done it and consistently done it. And another guy's name I'm throw out there is Jordan Love. Man, I would probably put Jordan Love in my top 10. I'd probably have him slid in there. Probably at just about 10, but I'd have him in there. I think Jordan Love's a guy that's been quite productive, and he was the guy that I was very critical of when he took over the reins, like I said, because I hadn't what I didn't know about him, what I hadn't seen, and opportunities that he had, and I think that he's taking advantage of his opportunity as a starting quarterback, and he's had some big moments in the postseason as well, and I think. He's another guy that I think is kind of maybe got snubbed out of this top 10. That's just my opinion.
And here's an interesting dilemma, right? Because we look at people's draft status, and this is why I think people want Jalen Hurts higher because he's a second round pick, and a lot of these guys were first overall picks and first round picks. So, like a guy like Brock Purdy, he could be. We talk about quarterbacks; he's productive in his team. Like they win a lot of games with that guy. You may not like the way he looks or the way he throws or what he sounds like. But if you look at his numbers, he's pretty productive. Now, is he a product of the system because he's Ayuk and all that? But if you look at him as a 7th round pick, right, you have to move him up the list because a 7th round pick is doing more than some of these other guys on the list. Now, I'm not saying Brock Purdy's in the top 10. I'm just using that as an exercise that we need to do. But for me, guys, that's been it for me.
Can I just say, real fast, Adam? And Mac, don't you guys think I'm asking because I don't want to sound biased, but come on, bro. If Tua never got hurt, look what he means to that team.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
I think he would be up there
Tua
too.
be in the top 10?
I think he's a guy that
borderline 10. Not anything above
10.
8.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Listen, it depends on what the
Tua
Tua
19.
If I get the 4,600 yard Tua that played that one season where he was throwing all over the yard, right? Then yes, I have to say that's a top 10 performance.
But he does have fucking electrified wide receivers, though.
I don't. But
that's
again,
but
I'm
that's
not.
what I right.
We
Look
can't
when he
blame
goes.
people for that.
Look when he goes out. The fucking quarterbacks couldn't get it done with those wide receivers. That's
Well,
what he
but you
meant to
can't.
that
But
team.
exactly.
That's what I'm
You
saying.
just said
That's
it
what I'm
best.
saying. Yeah.
You're saying they have electric receivers, yet you change the fucking part, the one part that matters, and this is why I tell people quarterback does matter. And you have Tyreek Hill and these
Yeah.
guys complaining
Goes
because they can't get the fucking ball, they can't move, the offense looks like shit, they can't block
It goes to
nobody has any
Max point
energy.
about the overall roster. You can't blame the roster.
So
Absolutely.
so again, like that's why I look at Jalen Hurts and I look at him and like Kenny Pickett is not the greatest, but if I replace some of the guys that we talk about on the list and put Jalen Hurts there, put some of these guys on there, you're probably getting the same result. But anyways, that was my segment. I hope everyone enjoyed that. I'm probably going to try to think of more topics that come up in discussion. I have another one for next week, and someone was talking about the best D line or best defensive top 10 players in the league and how to evaluate them. So I want to get into this topic because it doesn't just pertain to quarterbacks, it pertains to a lot of other positions. And we don't necessarily have to keep it to the current group. We can always expand it and talk about the history because there are a lot of guys I feel that fit into certain realms. And we talk about backs like Bijan Robinson, great back, but he doesn't get the publicity that he gets because he's on Atlanta, right? But then we'll talk about somebody else in the game, and we don't respect Bijan for being one of the top backs the same way as other people. So I just want to get into these discussions, and I thought the quarterback one was interesting, not just because it's Jalen Hurts, but because how do you define the greatness? And I think you guys proved what I needed to hear. Two different varying opinions that were very in depth. Mac believes resume. I shouldn't speak for Mac, but I think his thinking is a little bit more resume based, right? Not necessarily what you did last year. It's what you have you done in your career and what you've accomplished. And like Zion said, some of these lists are more predetermined, like saying that this is what they think is going to end up being the top 10, and then you snub guys like CJ Stroud and others because you don't really think. So I thought this was a great exercise. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I don't know if there's any. I think we're closing out the show in the next couple minutes, so I'll throw it back to Zion, who might throw it back to Mac to close us out. But guys, thanks for letting me have this few minutes.
Well said, Adam, and that kind of segments that I do want to have on these shows. Thank you for bringing that one up. I think a fun thing we could do while we have some time. I know training camp is coming up too, but before the season starts, is we can even do like our best players from the '90s, our top 10 best players from the '90s, our best players from the 2000s, and stuff like that. We'll have a lot of fun conversations. But that being said, I am gonna pass it back over to Matt to end the show. I just want to say, I know he's gonna say it, but for me, to you guys. Thank you guys for joining, man. Thank you guys for holding down the chat. I know it's been a 2-month hiatus, but we're gonna be lit now, back every Friday. I mean, like the day might change. We'll let you guys know if it does. But right back over to you, Matt. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank everybody for coming out, man. Great. Appreciate y'all in the chat. Chat was lit tonight. That quarterback conversation, it was definitely dope, man. We appreciate that. Appreciate all the support, man. We are back. The horsemen are back. We back riding. This football season is upon us, man. And this is the best time of the year, man. Let's get it, man. And just go make sure y'all stop by Adam's channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button on the stream. Do the same thing at Zion's channel. Hit the thumbs up, hit the like. Subscribe to the channel. Hardcore Sports Network. Also, go hit the like and subscribe to the Hardcore Sports Network, and do the same in my channel as well, Macdagiantsfan. We back. I'm coming back with regular content, man. I did my first episode stream earlier this afternoon. A little Giants chat every Friday afternoon. I'll be coming with that every Friday afternoon, just talking New York Giants for about an hour or so. So make sure y'all tune in each and every Friday afternoon for that with me. That's my shameless plug. Throw them fours up for our guy, always in our heart. The one love to NYG Jeffy T, man. We always gonna love Jeff, man. No
You would have
doubt
loved
indeed,
Joey
man.
Chestnut on Thanksgiving eating them hot dogs. Jeff would
Yes,
have
he would
loved
have.
that. Yeah.
Yes, he would have. Yes,
Yeah.
he
I
would
thought of him
have.
and I was watching that for a bit. Hell yeah. Miss you, Jeff.
But
Let's get it.
this has been another edition of the Premium Takes Podcast with myself, Matt the Giants fan, Adam Costas, Zion Zenith, man. We'll see y'all next week. Peace.